These are the top 5 switches you should be buying at Milktooth this June 2026. Kicking things off is the HMX Dirty Pink, one of the most anticipated switches of the month. This is the first HMX switch to ditch the flat stem tip in favor of a waffle-shaped one. A lot of modern Thocky switches use waffle-shaped stem tips, as you can see here. Unlike a flat stem tip, these designs reduce the contact surface area between the stem and the bottom housing at bottom out. That smaller contact patch gives you a lower pitch as well as a softer and slightly cushioned typing feel. As such, unlike most HMX switches, the Dirty Pink leans deep and creamy rather than clacky. If you want a feather-light linear with bassy, polished acoustics, the Dirty Pink is my pick of the month. Take a listen. Next up is the Bison Golden Apple, which has quietly become one of the most talked about tactiles of the year since its late 2025 launch. It sold out almost immediately, and now that it's finally back in stock reliably, more people are getting to find out what the hype is about. This is the first switch ever to use a PEI bottom housing. PEI is a high-performance plastic prized for its rigidity. To me, that stiffer housing gives a firmer bottom out and a crisp, clean acoustic profile I haven't heard anywhere else right now. The bump is pronounced and satisfying, and to my ear, the sound lands deep and full with a clean, articulate snap. So if I'm after something different in the tactile space this month, this is my pick. Here's the sound test. If you want the unique material blend of the golden apples but in a linear, the Kale Calligraphy is the pick for you. This is one of the most special linears I've tried recently. Kale went all in to create custom molds to work with the unusual material combo. LCP, or liquid crystal polymer, for both housings, paired with an MF, short for melamine formaldehyde, stem. The LCP housings are stiff and dense, which gives the bottom out a full clacky character. This is the same idea behind the PEI housings in the golden apples we just talked about. On the other hand, the MF stem is harder and less slippery than the usual palm, so as it slides against the rails, it adds a fine, grainy texture you feel through the whole keystroke. To me, it's the most satisfying texture I've felt on a linear in a long time. It's controlled and even rather than rough, and because the factory loop is dialed in, it stays smooth even with all that grain. Here's how they sound. Next up is the HMX Moonlight, our silent tactile of the month. The Moonlight uses a palm and TPE stem with built-in dampeners. These little silicone pads here that absorb impact at bottom out and make silent switches actually silent. On most silent switches, those pads are added to the stem in a separate step. The Moonlight opts for a different approach. The silent stem is double shot, meaning the stem and dampeners are molded together as a single piece with the silencers already integrated. The payoff is better consistency from switch to switch. But the Moonlight makes a different design choice than most HMX silents. The housing is all PA66 nylon on both the top and bottom. Going all nylon here gives the Moonlight a deeper, more muted profile that lands on the softer, more rounded end of the silent tactile spectrum. Take a listen to the sound test. The Nana is Bison's newest tactile, and the first to use Bison's new bottom molds. The bottom housing is one of the biggest drivers of a switch's sound. I find that the tone sits in the mid-frequency range. Not too deep, but not too bright. It leans clacky overall, and it's a versatile pick that I can see working in a lot of different setups. Bison is generally known for a thick factory lube, but this time they restrain themselves a little. The loop here is noticeably lighter, which I like, because it lets the tactile bump speak for itself instead of getting covered up. That ties into what's unique about these. The bump is pretty substantial, and there's quite a bit of post-travel to go with it. I haven't seen that combination in a while. It reminds me of the MX Clear in that regard, which is admittedly kind of a deep cut. Here's the sound test. Now, here are back-to-back sound tests for the switches we talked about today. But if you want a deep dive into the creamiest linear switch I've used this year, check out this video here. For now, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.